and we should be ready to go.
Okay, welcome to the Revere School Committee of the Whole meeting. It is February 22nd, 3:04. Can we have a roll call, please?
Mrs. Bronson Rizzo,
Here.
Mr. D'Ambrosio,
Here.
Mr. Ferranti, Mrs. Gravellisi,
Here.
Mr. Sinella,
Here.
Ms. Ty,
Here.
Mayor Arrigo.
Okay, so the first thing on our agenda for tonight is a transition. You know what, Diane? I don't have the agenda in front of me.
I have it in front of me, Stacy, if you'd like me to, Anthony, he's the secretary. Do you have it in front of you? I have it.
I should have it in a moment.
I can do that. Agenda, I have it. Yay, I'm so smart.
You have it, Stacy?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
So the first item on our agenda is a motion regarding transition from a remote learning model to a hybrid learning model effective March 2021. Do we have a motion? Well, I made a motion. Do we have a second?
Second.
I think as chair that you cannot make the motion.
You can't make the motion.
Oh, that's right too. I am the motion.
Okay.
I'll make the motion. Or Susan, anybody.
Motion to transition to remote learning model, from remote learning model to a hybrid learning model effective March 2021.
Second.
So before we get into a vote on the motion, and I believe that Nick sent Anthony some more specific language that we can look at. I just was hoping I could share some thoughts with the school committee.
Mm-hmm.
As you know, we've been engaged in impact bargaining with the Revere Teachers Association. And I am pleased to report that we have made some progress, particularly around return to school dates. There is still more that we need to talk about and more that we need to come to agreement on. So this is a temporary interim agreement, but I will share some of that information with you now. And I have just a quick PowerPoint to make it a little bit more visible for folks at home. Can you see my?
Excuse me, I thought that this was, we'd go into executive session to discuss what's going on.
No, I think this was intended to be a public school committee meeting.
But we haven't discussed what took place with the membership, and they've got to vote on it. And they should get a full report of what the negotiations were.
Nope.
Through you to the attorney, please. I'd like an opinion.
So my understanding of this vote was simply on the return to work dates. This is simply on the transition from the remote learning model to the hybrid learning model, which this committee has discussed before and had a previous vote upon. And then this is to specify the dates in March.
Thank you.
And Dr. Mokaba, I'm going to ask you to keep an eye on the waiting room for the mayor as I navigate the PowerPoint. So just some brief interim position where we are right now is we're looking at having no school on March 4th and 5th. That would be two professional development days for teachers to begin the transition back to, or begin the transition to a hybrid model. And we have agreed to start that on March 8th with our life skills and ASD classes coming in beginning on March 8th. And then following up on March 15th with our small learning groups. And as the committee knows, but for the folks at home, the small learning groups are kids who are often in some separate classrooms, but have more of a hybrid schedule where they attend electives or some other classes depending on their needs in mainstreamed classrooms. But we would bring them back for transition first on the 15th. And then we would continue to transition back to in-person learning in a hybrid model with half of all grade levels from early childhood through grade 12 beginning on March 22nd, and the remaining grade levels returning on March 29th. And we have 2 negotiating sessions scheduled this week with the teachers bargaining unit, and that is tomorrow night and Thursday night. And we're hoping by the end of Thursday, we will have identified which specific grade levels will come in on the 22nd and which specific grade levels will come in on the 29th. We do anticipate that those grade levels will be balanced across grade bands, so that basically half of the grade levels at the elementary would come back, with probably 1 grade level at the middle school and 2 grade levels at the high school on the 22nd. And then the remaining elementary grade levels, the remaining middle school grade levels, and the remaining high school levels would start on the 29th. And in both of those cases, we would still be in a hybrid week A, week B model, so that on the 22nd, let's just say, for instance, we brought back grades 1, 5, 6, 9, and 10. Then on the week of March 22nd, half of the students who have selected to learn in a hybrid model from those grade levels would begin school. Their classmates would actually start on the 29th, when those kids would be on their remote week. At the same time, on the 29th, we would have grade levels 2, 4, 7, 8, 11, and 12 joining in for in-person learning. And again, it would be half of the kids in those grade levels who selected hybrid learning that would come back on the 29th, and their classmates would actually start on, I think it's April, I forget what the Monday is, I don't have it here, April 5th, if that makes sense. Our daily schedule for hybrid students is not finalized yet. It's another piece of the work that we hope to get done between tomorrow's bargaining session and Thursday's bargaining session, so that we can get those schedules published to folks by the weekend. At any rate, the impact on our students that are beginning back first, the life skills and the small learning groups, will be somewhat different anyway, because we intend to have them in, they follow their own schedules that are a little bit separated from the rest of the school, so that's manageable for us. As I said, we hope to have this finalized by the end of this week, but if we need a little bit more time than that to work with the teachers union, we do have a little bit of flexibility in time. We will share the daily schedules as soon as we can. And as I've identified on the slide here, we hope to also have some of our EL students, and wherever possible, other classes in for both week A and week B. Our priority in having the week A, week B model is to have class sizes that are small enough to allow for social distancing. In some instances, class sizes are already small enough to allow for social distancing. A primary example of that is at Seacoast. But we also have some elementary classrooms that maybe were scheduled at the start of the year with 17 or 18 kids, where 5 of 6 of them have decided to stay full remote. That means the 12 remaining kids could come in on both week A and week B. And as we finalize the parent choices, principals will invite people in those situations to have their kids attend school both weeks. It is possible that some students will need to change their teacher because of either a switch from hybrid to remote or a switch from remote to hybrid, or because such requests, in order to fill them, require that we split some classes or do some realigning to make sure class distributions are relatively even along classrooms. So in every effort's going to be made to avoid that. But if it is necessary, principals will be in touch with families directly when it's determined that a student needs to change a class. And again, I'll reemphasize that we're going to try to avoid that, but we want everybody to be aware that that may be necessary. Some of whether or not that's necessary will be contingent on impact bargaining. when we can, we have already gotten some requests for changes between what people said they wanted in terms of hybrid or remote in August and what they told us on the December survey. We intend to make those changes everywhere that we can. If we didn't receive a reply to the December survey, then the student will be placed either in a hybrid model or in a remote model based on the feedback the family gave us in August. And we did have almost 100% response to our August survey. So we have at least a response from each family. Future changes will be considered if possible, but we can't promise anybody that we'll be able to accommodate those. And for families who are coming back in hybrid, if they choose to switch to remote, they may do so at any time, but they will not be invited to switch back to hybrid, as we need to figure out some kind of regular flow of classroom enrollment. For transportation, we'll be following all of the current DESI guidelines. There will be windows open on all buses. There'll be up to 46 students on our larger buses. In a typical environment, we would have 65 to 70 kids on each bus. So we're having slightly lower, or 1/3 lower seats available on each bus, but we don't anticipate that will be an issue because of the hybrid nature of our return. If necessary, we will add additional buses. So it might be that first bus comes to a particular bus stop and becomes full, and the driver and the monitor on that bus will tell students that there's no more space for them to get on. We're not going to violate safety protocols. We will internally send another vehicle to pick those kids up, and then in subsequent days have an additional bus assigned. However, all students getting onto any bus must be registered for that bus, and they will be checking student IDs as kids get on the bus. Every student will be required to be masked. Any student who refuses to wear a mask will not be allowed on the bus. We're going to be really strict with this, and we're not going to be playing games with people. Our focus is making sure that everybody's safe in every environment that we provide, and that continues on to the buses. With athletics, we will be starting athletics. Our students will, for the winter season, will begin conditioning on March 1st. And I have outlined the teams here. This is all very similar to the presentation that Athletic Director Frank Shea gave you a couple of weeks ago. He's basically given the school committee this information already. But just for families and parents and students to know, the winter season would begin conditioning on March 1st, and their competitions would begin, I believe it's on the 12th of March. The fall 2 season will begin on or about April 5th. That's conditioning. Their competitions will start roughly 2 weeks after that date. And the spring sports would start conditioning, oh, I have a typo here, on or about May 10th. And then their season would begin a week or 2 after that. And I should mention that their season is extended to the end of June or early July. The Greater Boston League is still defining exact dates, but that will be a longer season than typical. And then other extracurricular activities we'll be looking to start up at roughly the same time. Our JROTC, which typically meets early morning before school. Our robotics team typically does some of their work in person. Dr. Perella and his team at the high school will be talking to individual club coordinators to see which ones want to come back to some in-person activity, and we will facilitate that to the extent that it's safe and doable. In all cases, whether it's extracurricular activities or athletics, all safety protocols will be adhered to at all times. And any students who are unwilling to observe those safety protocols will be removed from any activities. We're going to leave it at high school level right now for our consideration of in-person extracurriculars. As we learn from that process, and have more students in school, we can look at the middle school and see if we want to work with schools to develop a program whereby middle school students can attend in-person extracurricular activities as well. But we're not going to do that right now in the very beginning. And that's about where we are with returning to a hybrid model.
Any members
Dr.
have any? Oh, I'm sorry. The mayor is here.
I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I apologize for being a little late, everyone. Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Any members have any comments or questions?
Mr. Mayor,
Ms. Ty, and then we'll get to you, Ryan. Ms. Ty, go ahead.
well, my compliments to the superintendent and to her team, because this clearly is the result not only of good conversations with the Revere Teachers Association, but with a lot of work on the part of the administration and everyone who helped in any way, whether it's the transportation director or anyone. It is, it's an excellent start, and I hope that we will be able to finish negotiations so that we can conclude it. Thank you for all your hard work.
And I should thank Member Ty and Member Sinella for their work with us in the bargaining sessions that we've had to date.
Thank you, Ms. Ty. Any other members? Ryan, go ahead.
Just going off of what Ms. Ty said, I also want to give praise to the negotiations that have made so far. I think this is a solid plan, and whatever else needs to be added, I feel like it will be added. One question I have though about the plan, Dr. Kelly, you mentioned about the use of the two surveys to determine whether or not students will be in the hybrid setting or the remote setting. Students who had put remote setting in the December survey, would they be able to change to a hybrid setting via like another survey or something like that, or are they stuck to that decision?
Well, those are the kids that if we get requests like that, we'll try to honor them where we can. But principals are way down a path right now based on the feedback that families gave us in December and early January, that things have been built based on the feedback that families gave us. So that's kind of where it is. If a student wants to change their mind, or if a family wants to change their mind, they should certainly reach out to their principal. And if we can accommodate, we certainly will, but we just can't promise anybody anything on that front. But they should certainly not hesitate to reach out. Always ask, and if we can accommodate, we absolutely will.
Okay, thank you for the
Excellent.
clarification.
Thank you, Ryan. At this time, the chair would entertain a motion.
Mayor, we made a motion by
Oh.
Susan Grevalisi, second by Carol Ty, and now we just need a roll call.
See what happens when you're late?
No.
I saw the action. I apologize.
Sorry, good. I think there's a more specific motion maybe. And Nick, do you want to?
Sure, Mr. Mayor, I believe Mr. D'Ambrosio may have a more specific motion for the
Yeah,
members.
I'm happy to read that if you all want to do that right now. Sounds great. All right. We move that the committee accept the proposed schedule as negotiated between the committee and the Revere Teachers Association associated with a hybrid learning and teaching model. Families will have the option to allow their children to continue to attend classes in the remote model or transition to the hybrid model. The week of March 1st will be professional development for all educators. On March 4th and March 5th, classes will not be held for students. Week of March 8th, students in life skills programs, including students in separate autism spectrum disorder programs, shall return to the buildings. These students shall attend class in building every day that there is in building instruction. Week of March 15th, students in small learning group classes shall return to the buildings. These students shall attend class in building every day that there is in building instruction. Week of March 22nd, approximately half of the students in early childhood through grade 12 shall begin to return to the buildings. These students shall attend class in building every other week, depending on their cohort placement. week of March 29th. The remaining approximately half of the students in early childhood through grade 12 shall begin to return to the buildings. These students shall attend class in building every other week, depending on their cohort placement.
Second,
Roll call of members.
Mrs. Bronson Rizzo,
Yes, I guess.
Mr. D'Ambrosio,
Yes.
Mr. Ferranti, Mrs. Gravellisi,
Yes.
Mr. Sinella,
Yes.
Ms. Ty,
yes,
Mayor Arrico.
Yes. Right. Motion's passed. Again, thank you, Dr. Kelly and your team. And thank you to everyone that's been involved in getting this done and moving us forward. Okay, the next item on the agenda is new Revere High School design team update. Dr. Kelly?
Sure, I'm gonna share my screen again. As you know, Mayor Rigo and Mrs. Rizzo and I met with the design team and the OPM this morning to talk about moving forward the work in our efforts to build the new high school. And I wanted to just share just a few pieces of information. One of the priorities of the new design firm, which is Perkins Eastman, will be re-engaging the community to start this discussion, or not to start, but to continue the discussion about what we want to see in our new high school building. We're in the final stages of finalizing a contract with them. So it's going to take us a little, just a little bit more time to get that finished. But we do have a school building committee meeting on Thursday at 3 o'clock. And I wanted to share with the committee and with the viewers at home some information that's now on our website. And if I click this, I'm hoping you can still see. Do you now see the Revere Public School website? No. All right. Let me see if I can. I think I have to stop sharing and then reshare. So let me try again. Okay, how about now?
yes.
Yes, okay. So one thing I think folks will notice is in the blue banner, there's a new category here called Revere High School Construction Project. And if you click on this, you have two subcategories. One is the construction website and the other is the building committee. So I'm gonna click on building committee first, just because it's a very brief page link, but it has all of the information on meetings, agendas. They're also linked to the City of Revere website, like all public meetings are, but if you're specifically interested in school building information, you can come here to find it. And then I'm gonna go back. And if I go into the construction website, then you see a new full page here that has a lot more information, and it's brand new, so it's not full yet. But you can go in and find out about the project team and who's on the building committee, who our owner's project manager is. And you'll see, I'll click on this one. We've talked before about how Left Field is our owner's project manager. So you can come to this page and see the information about the people that are on the Revere team, and then also find some other information about them. And you can also go to the building committee link, and you'll see a list of all of the people who are actually on the new school building committee and what they do in the city. And one thing that's not identified here, but I want to point it out, is that the vast majority of the people on this team, if they're not elected officials or school department administrators, they're, in addition to whatever other role they fill, parents of students in the school system. So we think they'll be very much connected to the work that's going to determine what our new high school is going to look like. So I'm not going to go through this whole website, but I'm just kind of bringing this up so that people will take the time to go ahead and take a look and browse around the site and know that this is a space that you can come to as the progress moves forward. And as we do more work on the project, here's where folks will find it. And just to go back a little bit, if you go to the main school district website, the link is right here, Revere High School Construction Project. And I actually, now that I'm looking at that, it should say Revere High School New School Building Project, but we'll work on the name of that link, but it is right here for all to see. And so I just wanted to share that information as we continue to prepare for the building of our new high school.
Thank you, Dr. Kelly. Do any members have any questions or comments? No. Okay. Mrs. Rizzo?
I just want to say I'm really excited about working with this team. Bob Bell, who does the educational piece, and Dawn, who is the designer, they just really brought a lot to the table with the interviews. And again, this morning, and it's nice. I don't know, I'm just really excited about it. They look like they're going to work really well with Revere because they really are interested in what our community wants. And also got to meet Mr. Joseph Lewin this morning, the volunteer that Diane has brought in, and he seems on top of his game also. So I see really good things coming up for Revere.
Thank you, Mrs. Rizzo. Ms. Ty?
Well, thank you, Mrs. Rizzo, and thank you, Dr. Kelly, for being on this and moving forward with it. I remember in the old, quote, new high school, the one that we're in now, what an inspiration that project became to everybody in the city. And it's great. It's with great pride that we say that we're participating in it. Mr. Bear, I want to thank you for your leadership, because ultimately you're the one. And so you're showing leadership in this way, and your vision for the future is really not only aspirational, but inspirational. And I thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Ty. Any other members? Okay. Seeing none, we'll move on to the third item on the agenda, which is the $1,000 donation from Row Revere.
Yes, so we had an administrative meeting on Friday. We were, doing our work about the reopening plan, and one of the roadblocks we anticipate is that some of our students might have outgrown their uniforms since last year and be in need of new ones. And that may or may not be a cost that parents are able to afford right now. So as we discussed ways that we could help families and provide some uniforms for kids, Stacy Lavoti, who is the assistant principal at Seacoast, but also one of the leaders at Row Revere, in the same breath said we would like to donate $1,000 to help with this effort. So we're very thankful to Stacy and the whole group at Row Revere to help us, get a little bit of funding and help with that. Principals are going to be using some of their own building account money to really put some packages together for families in need. And that money will go a long way to help that. So we're really appreciative. And I hope that the school committee will take a vote to accept that gift.
I move to accept the gift with great gratitude. Thank you to Row Revere.
Second.
Roll call the members.
Mrs. Bronson Rizzo,
Yes.
Mr. D'Ambrosio,
Yes.
Mr. Ferranti, Mrs. Gravellisi,
Yes.
Mr. Sinella,
Yes.
Ms. Ty,
Yes.
Mayor Arrigo.
Yes. Okay. Seeing no further business before the school committee, the chair will entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
So movement.
Okay.
Second.
The school committee will stand adjourned until the next regular meeting of the school committee. Thank you.
Thank
Thank
you.
you.
Thank you.
Thanks, everybody.
Roll call.
Thank you.